Oh, sure. Welcome, welcome. How's your day going so far? I guess it is actually evening for you, isn't it? Aurora? Please don't crowd the keyboard. Or mess with my drink. Let's see. Yes, Mew? What is it? Oh? Hi, Raven. Stream this early? Yep. Sometimes I do actually get UTC bedtime instead of UTC -8 bedtime. Sometimes. It's a rare treat, you know. Let's see. Ignore that. Going to send Twitch on an ad break real quick so there's no pre-rolls. And then I think we can get going. Well, we can probably just chat for a little bit too. There we go. Give me a sec. There's noise outside. It's a little better. All right. Oh. How's your day going, Raven? I know that there hasn't been much to it, but hopefully your morning's at least going decently. And new model. This is much more expressive, and I'm excited. The reason I had to switch models isn't so good, but the fact that I am on this model it's nice. It's rather fun too. Oh, vroom vroom. Big old truck. I'm glad that's not coming through in the middle of a story. I need to stretch though. Oh, remember to stretch and sip and grab a bite if you haven't already. It's unfortunate there was something that forced to change the model. Yeah, it happens. Turns out the art was AI generated, so just like, nah. Don't care about reading large corporations' books without permission, but I will absolutely draw the line at AI generations. Now, also lovely model. Thank you. There are redeems, by the way, that are properly tied. So if you can use, oh, Raven, this is so this is more a Twitch thing than a YouTube thing. I don't know if there's any way to integrate it with YouTube, but yeah, if you're on Twitch and you want to use channel points for things, I do have a few variations to the model. I think the only thing out of those that only I can activate is this, but everything else is activatable via channel points. So, yeah, I'm excited. Also, if I am angry, I can just go gar 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 gar. A vroom vroom, evidently. Now let's see. Oh, I remember what I need to do. I need to get... There we go. Hey, LibreOffice. Lady has orb? Yes, I can... oh, you're right? Oh, that must have been your claw against the desk. I can ponder the orb. Aurora, please don't step on the keyboard. You know better than that. Nope. If you can't avoid the keyboard, you can't be near the keyboard. That's dangerous. Yeah. There we go. Still learning how to pilot it. All right. So I have that. I think I have everything I need. Probably. Oh, that's nice. What's nice? Oh, Aurora, are you okay? There we go. The orb thingy? Ah, this bottle better suits your personality and style. There are still some things that I would like, but yeah, it feels good. It feels good. And there are, let's see, what are some of the things that I can do? I think hat? Hat. I can have a hat. Let's see. I can have this. I wish I could change my hairstyle this quickly. Because this is about right for my real life hair, right? I've got the braided hair that goes down below my my hip, or my hips. But then, poof! Braided bang and little orbs. Maybe having horns if you're a succubus. Yep, I would eventually like to get my horns and my wings back. And my tail, that would be nice. That would be nice. The wings might be a little easier. The horns might be a little harder to get. And the tail and the wings might not be too hard. The horns might need a little doing. But we'll see. We'll get there eventually. I just have to be, I just have to get, you know, popular enough that I can actually fund a proper customization of this model. Because the studio that creates it does take requests and commissions. I need to stretch though. Oh, I woke up nice and early, but little, not quite headachy. Just a lot of tension in my neck and shoulders. So interesting. I always believe wings to be more difficult than horns. Oh, so with these models, it's so the reason why is because wings can just be placed wholly behind me, right? Whereas horns have to accommodate my hair and also properly move, right? If I'm moving my head, right, it has to be able to, horns have to be able to move in such a way that they actually stay with my head, which is hard, while not getting, while interacting with my bangs in a believable way. Whereas wings can just stay right behind me and move a little bit, and they're fine. Holy meep! RTX half on? Yep, half on. Welcome, welcome, Luna. This is the new me for the foreseeable future. Hopefully you like. There are some channel point redeems that you can do as well that do link properly to the model. So I think there's thank you for the redeems. Got the free flowing hair and the wizard hat. Yep. Physics are present also? Yep. Physics, physics, physics. Got the nice flowing hair. Hi, Pan! Little big hat. Yep, yep. NVIDIA full force. I do have to thank NVIDIA for having webcam tracking. They're the only reason that I can do webcam tracking instead of having to get an iPhone. Although iPhone tracking is better, I would eventually like to get a secondhand iPhone somewhere just for the tracking. But also they do NVENC for the, what do you call it? It's the video encoding. So special physics also seem to be present. Yeah! Ribbons. And my other ribbons on the arms. Let's see. I could. Let's see. There we go. All right. Let's see. Ravens? I mean, if we can get them in some way. Oh, ribbons. Yeah. My ribbons. I have some ribbons on my hat, right? And I have ribbons on my sleeves as well for the tie-offs. Wait a minute, let's see. Blink. Is that better? That's usually where I sit. Kitty ears. I forgot where I put the kitty ears. Shh, I'm still a succubus. Don't worry, I'm not a cat girl. I swear. Also, I do. The fire actually shines light on me now, see? A little bit. A little bit on the bangs, a little bit on the hat, a little bit on the sleeves, a little bit on the hair. Kitty, you're so cute. My default is with the kitty ears off, but, you know, I figure if people really want me to have kitty ears, they can make me have kitty ears sometimes. Given long enough, everyone becomes a kemonomimi. Yeah. Do succubi count? Oh, Orange Lantern. Hello. Thank you for the follow. It's good to see more Fetty folks on here. Yeah. Because succubi have wings, and we have some sort of horns, usually. I tend to like the ram horns, right? Those tend to be rare, though. I think the most common horns are more like goat horns. Medium length, 2 from the forehead, very, very gentle curves. Some people like the sort of the crown horns that sort of frame their head, come along like a halo, and then sort of point up. You know, for me, I like ram horns. Gray ram horns in particular. Hi, Orange Lantern. Hello. You're actually just in time for technically a debut, I think. Yes, Mew. Miss, if you're halfway across the room, I can't pet you. You know this. Come on, up on the stool or I can't even reach. No? You're just going to go away? Aw. Meaty. Yeah, she's there, complaining as usual. Mother, why don't you pet me? Mother, pet me. Mother, I require attention. Meanwhile, she's halfway across the room. And then she comes nearby to the stool that I put here by me so that she could be within reach. And she doesn't get up on the stool. Just sitting back behind it, going under my chair, everywhere except the one spot where I can actually reach. Hi, Oz. Hello. Welcome. Metal Gear Oz. Urgent Mew from the back row. Always. Mother, why are we talking to screens again? I'm sorry, Mew. I have to talk to the people in my computer. I know it's very, very strange. It's a human thing. Don't worry about it. Oh yeah, cool news. Next year I'll probably marry my girlfriend. That's exciting. Soon, soon. Next year is only 9 months away, right? Mother, I knew you were lonely, but this lonely. I feel a little called out. Just a little bit. Let's see. Do you think at 2K channel points it's worth it for 5 years of 5 years, 5 minutes of kitty ears? Because the max I can do on VTube Studio is 5 minutes. And the hat and the hair, I think, are worth 5 minutes at their current channel point cost. But cat ears I wanted to be special, but I don't know if 2K channel points is worth 5 minutes of kitty ears. I wish I could make it longer, but I don't have the bot coding knowledge that people like Holly or Fen or Ro or anybody else have. So, are we invited to the wedding? When you make a joke but accidentally call out half the chat, including yourself. Shh, don't worry, it's okay. Everything will be okay. Kitty ears, yes. The hat, well, it's a nice hat, but the ears are perfect. Well, I'm glad you think so. Once 5 minutes is up, you'll see what I tend to look like by default. My default outfit, my preferred outfit, something like that. I don't want to call it preferred. I mean, it sort of is. But also, I like the other outfits. I have to say, your eyes are so pretty. Aw, thank you, thank you. I couldn't quite choose. Like, I like the rich blues. I like the browns that fade into honey and moss, which is only works in sunlight. And then, but also I figured succubus? Yeah, no, the rich magenta-y pinks are, and if I wish I had a toggle that was a dark mode that was just, the eyes shining through. But for now, I just have these. Why not all? Just theme them on a redeem. I don't know how to do that. It's if I knew Live 2D and coding, or if I had enough or if I had somebody that I could actually trade things for, right? Like, because like for artists, you can do art trades, right? For like rigging and that sort of thing, you could potentially do skill swaps. But all of my skills are performance skills, right? It's, hey, here's, I can play music for you, or I can read you bedtime stories, but there's no physical, tangible thing I can give to people. So swaps are really hard. You're a bard, you'll learn eventually. That's honestly sort of true. A lot of people need and want music. Sort of, kind of. For me, so I tend to specialize in live music, right? And most people want recorded stuff. They want compositions, they want arrangements, tracks that they can use in their games or something like that. And for me, that's a lot harder to do. Life without music is possible, but mostly pointless. Yeah, and the arts in general, right? The engineering, the maths, those sorts of things make life possible. The arts make life worth living. And of course, companionship and that sort of thing does also make life worth living. Life worth living. Ah, the words. I swear, I do actually read and narrate books. English is actually a native language for me, I swear. Just my second native one. Music is maths? To a degree, yes. To a degree. It's applied maths, but in a special way. Engineering and maths are also pointless if it doesn't lead to more music, or maybe that's just me. I mean, maths and engineering eventually lead to music, right? Because they make life possible? Same, I suck at it as well. I feel bad. Oh. Oh, neck, cooperate with me. Okay. Let's see. Also, today I actually have tea with honey and lemon juice. Awkward Smiles Co. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Succubard's library. Music is only maths if you read it. I mean, music is still applied maths, even if you only play it. Or sing it. Hopefully one day my German will be on the same level. Just a matter of practice. I wonder if the honey is... Oh, yep. I think the honey is down at the bottom, all not congealed. What's the word? Settled? Settled and not properly mixed. I need I have this. I don't need a wand to cast, but, I can point this at people. There will come a day where I will have to actually talk to people online with my voice in English, and then I'll perish. I feel that, Orange Lantern. I feel that. But practice. Everything is practice, right? That's for me. Oh, also, did I say welcome, Awkward Smiles? Thanks for the first time chat. But like even for me, right? I don't have acting experience. Most of my experience is in music. I did teach English for a number of years professionally and plenty more besides non-professionally. But being a VTuber, where my acting actually matters, and reading books, where my vocal acting actually matters, has been really good practice for me. And I've done most of the music I've composed and performed instead of playing game soundtracks. Most of the stuff I've composed myself to perform has been for theater soundtracks, right? But I've never acted myself. And so, like, doing this sort of thing is a little scary. But, you know, it's practice. Every little bit is practice. And if you look at, especially, like, you know, if you look at VTubers, look at their debut versus look at where they are 1, 2, 3 years later, you'll see just how much they can grow. Even if they're, you know, it's their first language, they're used to it, whatever else. Sorry. All right, so let's see. What shall we read today? What shall we read today? Totally, it takes guts, and the only way to learn is to do it. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, well, so the good part is that there are videos that can help. There are things that parts of it that you can learn without the, what's the right word? Things that you can practice before you perform them. But at the end of the day, plans are wonderful until you actually put them into action. And then everything goes to absolute shit. And then, you know, you have to learn and you have to put things into muscle memory. Even my voice, I'm sure, has changed over the last, year and 3 months. Year and 4. This is the 16th month of proper streaming. Lady, are you planning on streaming tomorrow? Really depends on how my sleep goes. I would like to. Although it might be a gaming stream. I don't know. Why? Do you have something? Sorry? Do you have something to request tomorrow or something? There we go. Let's see. I think I did have stories lined up for today. So I uploaded some YouTube videos that are on Oblivion and the Oblivion Crisis, right? On Oblivion is a book that talks about, so we're talking Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, and Skyrim. And on Oblivion was it on Oblivion from Skyrim, from Elder Scrolls Oblivion? Let's see. No, it was from Daggerfall. So this is Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall. On Oblivion was written, and it talks about the realms of Oblivion and the Daedric princes that preside over them. And then there was the Oblivion Crisis, which talks about the events of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion and the Daedric prince Mehrunes Dagon, right? And today I have one of the books that I want to read is called The Doors of Oblivion. And this is slightly longer than those two, but it is a perfect sequel to On Oblivion, and a decent sequel to the Oblivion Crisis. So we'll read that today. We'll read The Importance of Where, and the full trilogy. So I do actually have, oh, where did it go? Right, here it is. So I have a series of books. This is a quadrilogy instead of a trilogy from Oblivion called Beggar, Thief, Warrior, and King. Might get through some of those today. We'll see. And then we might... It's been 5 minutes. Why is my hat still on? Meh. And meh. There we go. Okay, so evidently I didn't set that up properly. Let's see where. There it is. And kitty ears, hat. That's a proper type. Why is it not? No. Huh. Huh. Oh, wrong one. Huh. Huh. Hi, Ro. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I've currently been, catified. Yep. I have ears now. Let's see. That's a raid! Hello! Thank you for the raid, Ro. Welcome. If there's anybody from Ro's raid that doesn't know me, my name's Octavia con amore. I'm a succubard. Succubus bard. Basically, I figured out there's easier ways to get people's energy than some strenuous activities. So, I entertain people as a bard. When my health is decent, I play music, but when it's not, which is basically all the time now, I read books and I play games. So yeah. And if you have fantasy books that you'd like me to read, you can request them, especially if you have particular passages, whether it be the prologue or a particularly poignant few pages. Yeah, I'm always happy to take requests. I know we've had a few requests over the last however many streams. And in fact, it's helped me discover a book or 3 that I'd actually like to read when I get the time. Aurora, please no. You're not allowed to play with that. Just because I suddenly have corded earpieces does not mean you get to play with them. Okay? No. She's loafed right in front of the cord, just staring at it. Just, meh, meh. Stare, stare. Mother, cables. Sabotage? I wouldn't put it past them. I think they're concerned about me talking to the people in the strange screens. I mean, I already spend more than a concerning amount of time in front of these weird screens, right? Oh, I have a hat again. Thanks for the redeem, Luna. Oh, cats love cables and cords so much. Yeah. I'm really, really glad that my cats don't nom the cables. They want to play with the cables. But I would prefer if they didn't play with my work cables. That would be nice. I can't afford to replace them. I mean, this cable at least is modular. They're my in-ear monitors. So they're a particular type of earpiece that musicians tend to use a lot. And the cables tend to be modular, as in there's a connector on the earbud itself, and then there's the cable that runs into, and that has an 1/8 inch, and then for me it goes from 1/8 inch to a 1/4 inch adapter, and then runs into my sound interface. But I really don't want to replace this cable because it's $20, because it's a particularly long cable. Ooh, cat girl starts swatting at the hat ribbon. I mean, I have some other ribbons too, Ribbons everywhere. Let's see. Oh, so I was recording the Oblivion Crisis, right? Which is my latest recording up on YouTube. And that was 10 minutes, 40 seconds ish, right? And no, it wasn't that. That one, my brain sabotaged me while recording. I had to do 3 takes. On Oblivion, I think I was 40 to 60 seconds into my first take. Aurora sits in her usual spot between me and the keyboard, and then partway through walks off, and with her final hind leg steps right on the spacebar, which reactivates the recording key, which stops the recording. Yeah. That sucked. That was sabotage. That was total sabotage. Wait, okay. There we go. Oh my gosh, that's rude. Yeah, it's rude. Super rude. Let's see. What are we reading today? Okay. And let's see. Let's do a quick ad break so we have clear time before the pre-rolls turn on. And in that time, I'll prep the book and then we can start reading. And if you're subbed, you don't have to watch the ads, luckily enough. But Yeah, just go take a break real quick. 3 books may be too much, but I think it's enough for world building. Oh, right. You mentioned I may have 3 chapters drafts from the second book in case you'd like to read them. Okay. Maybe not 3 whole chapters, but at least part of one of them. Maybe we can read bits per stream. Okay. And during the ad breaks, I need to stretch, stretch, stretch. Okay. There we go. There we go. Hello, Aurora. She's now between me and the keyboard again. And just going, Mother. Just stare. Three books may be too much, but I think is enough for world building. Wait, no, I saw that. I wonder if my interfaces are delayed or something. Darn computers. Okay. Let me do that. And then where is the importance of where? Or we'll do the doors of oblivion. Sounds good. The doors of oblivion. I will say, this book is a little eldritch horror, so doors of oblivion. There we go. Yeah. How many pages is this? This is 6 pages. 7 pages. That's nearly twice as long as the Oblivion Crisis. This is like 20 minutes of reading. Okay, Twitch is almost back. Almost. Almost. 2, 1. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, let's see. Oh, I forgot to change to reading? Or ASMR. No, I'll just go ASMR. Okay. So, this is the doors of oblivion. And this book is from the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. And again, it's a little eldritch horror-y, so just as a light content warning. So deals with, I believe, Hermaeus Mora, or Hermamora, or Hermaeus Mora, or there's like, he has a lot of names. His domain is secrets. So yeah, that's a thing. The doors of oblivion. Quote, when thou enterest into oblivion, oblivion entereth into thee. quote from Ne Tyrol Lar. The greatest mage who ever lived was my master Morian Zenas. You will have heard of him as the author of the book On Oblivion, the standard text for all on matters Daedric. Despite many entreaties over the years, he refused to update his classic book with his new discoveries and theories because he found that the more one delves into these realms, the less certain one is. He did not want conjecture, he wanted facts. For decades before and after the publication of On Oblivion, Zenas compiled a vast personal library on the subject of Oblivion, the home of the Daedra. He divided his time between his research and personal magical growth on the assumption that should he succeed in finding a way into the dangerous world beyond and behind ours, he would need much power to wander its dark paths. 12 years before Zenas began the journey, he had prepared his life to make began the journey he had prepared his life to make. He hired me as his assistant. I possessed the 3 attributes he required for the position. I was young and eager to help without question. I could read any book once and memorize its contents, and despite my youth, I was already a master of conjuration. Zenas, too, was a master of conjuration, indeed a master at all the known and unknown schools. But he did not want to rely on his ability alone in the most perilous of his research. In an underground vault, he summoned Daedra to interview them on their native land, and for that he needed another conjurer to make certain they came, and were bound, and were sent away again without incident. I will never forget that vault, not for its look, which was plain and unadorned, but for what you couldn't see. There were scents that lingered long after the summoned creature had left. Flowers and sulphur, sex and decay, power and madness. They haunt me still to this very day. Conjuration, for the layman, unacquainted with its workings, connects the caster's mind with that of the summoned. It is a tenuous link, meant only to lure, hold, and dismiss. But in the hands of a master, it can be much stronger. The Psijics and Dwemer can, in the Dwemer's case perhaps I should say, could, connect with the minds of others and converse miles apart. A skill that is sometimes called telepathy. Over the course of my employment, Zenas and I developed such a link between one another. It was accidental, a result of 2 powerful conjurers working closely together, but we decided that it would be invaluable should he succeed in traveling to Oblivion. Since the denizens of that land could be touched even by the skills of an amateur conjurer, it was possible we could continue to communicate while he was there, so I could record his discoveries. Damn sick burn on the Dwemer not existing anymore. Right? The doors to oblivion, to use Maurian Zenos's phrase, are not easily found. We exhausted many possibilities before we found one where we held the key. The Psijics of Artaeum have a place they call the Dreaming Cave, where, it is said, one can enter into the Daedric realms and return. Aekisis, Sothasil, Nemati, and many others have been recorded as using this means, but despite many entries to the order, we were denied its use. Celeris, the leader of the order, has told us it has been sealed off for the safety of all. We had hopes of using the ruins of the battle spires to access Oblivion. The Weir Gate still stands, though the old proving grounds of the Imperial Battle Mages itself was shattered some years ago in Yagar Thorn's time. Sadly, after an exhaustive search through the detritus, we had to conclude that, when it was destroyed, all access to the realms beyond, the Soulcairn, the Shade Perilous, and the Havoc Wellhead, had been broken. It was probably for the good, but it frustrated our goal. Awkward smiles. Sheesh. Yeah. Raven, Dwemer are basically the dwarves of the Elder Scrolls canon, right? Yeah, as Awkward said, very dwarf-coded to my understanding as well, though they are counted among the Mer races, the Elven races. Although their architecture is definitely Art Deco. Art Deco? Something Deco and something Noir. And I forgot which one is which. And I forgot what the prefix is. Yeah, they're the Dwemer, Chimer, Altmer, Falmer. These are all races of Mer, the elves. Versus the men, it's Mer and men. And so the Dwemer are counted amongst the Mer, the elves. The reader may have heard of other doors, and they may be assured we attempted to find them all. Some are pure legend, or at any rate not traceable based on the information left behind. Some are references in lore to Maruk's Abyss. There are references in lore to Maruk's Abyss, the Corrington Mirror, the Mantlin Crux, the Crossroads, the Mouth, a riddle of an alchemical formula called Yakinth and Rising Sun, and many other places and objects that are said to be doors, but we could not find. Some exist, but cannot be entered safely. The whirlpool in the Abyssian, called the Maelstrom of Ball, can make ships disappear, and may be a portal into oblivion, but the trauma of riding its waters would surely slay any who tried. Likewise, we did not consider it worth the risk to leap from the pillar of Thras, a 1,000-foot tall spiral of coral, though we'd witnessed the sacrifices the Slodes made there. Some victims were killed by the fall, but some indeed seemed to vanish before being dashed on the rocks. Since the Slode did not seem certain why some were taken and some died, we did not favor the odds of the plunge. The simplest and most maddeningly complex way to go to oblivion was simply to cease being here and begin to be there. Throughout history, there are examples of mages who seem to travel to the realms beyond ours, seemingly at will. Many of those voyagers are long dead, if they ever existed, but we were able to find one still living. In a tower of Zafirbel Bay, on the island of Vardenfell in the province of Morrowind, there exists a very old, very reclusive wizard named Devaith Fair. He was not easy to reach, and he was reluctant to share with Maureen Zenis the secret door to oblivion. Fortunately, my master's knowledge of lore impressed Fair, and he taught him the way. I would be breaking my promise to Zenis and fear to explain the procedure here, and I would not divulge it even if I could. If there is dangerous knowledge to be had, that is it. But I do not reveal too much to say that Fear's scheme relied on exploiting a series of portals to various realms created by a Telvanni wizard long missing and presumed dead. Against the disadvantage of this limited number of access points, we weighed the relative reliability and security of passage and considered ourselves fortunate in our informant. Pan just exists somewhere else. Five-head skill issue. Yes, that's about right, isn't it? Look, welcome, welcome. Roses are red, chocolate is brown. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. I would sing it, but I don't remember lyrics. At all. Ever. Oh, Sugar, thank you for the prime. Thank you, thank you. Hello, cutie. Love the comfy vibes. Thank you, thank you. Welcome to the Succubard's library. I'm Octavia. I'm a Succubard. And this is my library. Don't worry, nothing is insured, but the fire is... I made sure that the fire doesn't light anything on fire, including me. Oh, I forgot. Boink. There we go. It's been a little while. That's supposed to stay on for 5 minutes, and I've had it on for 23. Let's see. Aurora, I'm now back at the top of the manuscript at the doors of oblivion. When thou enterest into oblivion, the oblivion entereth into thee. Give me a sec to find my place here. Let's see now. There we go. Morian-Zenes then left this world to begin his exploration. I stayed at the library to transcribe his information and help him with any research he needed. Dust, he whispered to me on the first day of his voyage. Despite the inherent dreariness of the word, I could hear his excitement in his voice, echoing in my mind. I can see from one end of the world to the other in a million shades of grey. There is no sky or ground or air, only particles floating, falling, whirling about me. I must levitate and breathe by magical means. Zenes explored the nebulous land for some time, encountering vaporous creatures and palaces of smoke. Though he never met the prince, we concluded that he was in Ashpit, said to be the home of Malakath, where anguish, betrayal, and broken promises like ash filled the bitter air. The sky is on fire, I heard him say as he moved on to the next realm. The ground is sludge, but traversable. I see blackened ruins all around me, like war was fought here in the distant past. The air's freezing. Cast blooms of warmth all around me, but it still feels like daggers of ice stabbing me in all directions. This was Cold Harbor, where Molag Bal was prince. It appeared to Zenes as if it were a future known under the king, of rape, desolate and barren, filled with suffering. I could hear Morian-Zenes weep at the images he saw and shiver at the sight of the imperial palace spattered with blood and excrement. Too much beauty, Zenes gasped when he went to the next realm. I am half blind. I see flowers and waterfalls, majestic trees, a city of silver, but it is all a blur. The colors run like water. It's raining now, and the wind smells like perfume. This surely is Moon Shadow, where Azura dwells. Zenes was right, and astonishingly, he even had audience with the Queen of Dusk and Dawn in her Rose Palace. This would be Azura. She listened to his tale with a smile and told him of the coming of the Nerevarine. My master found Moon Shadow so lovely he wished to stay there, half blind, forever. But he knew he must move on and complete his journey of discovery. I am in a storm, he told me as he entered the next realm. He described the landscape of dark, twisted trees, howling spirits, and billowing mist. And I thought he might have entered the deadlands of Mehrunes Dagon, but then he quickly said, "No, I am no longer in a forest. There was a flash of lightning. Now I am on a ship. The mast is tattered. The crew is slaughtered. Something is coming through the waves. Oh God, wait, now I am in a dank dungeon, in a cell." He was in the Deadlands. He was not in the Deadlands, but Quagmire, the nightmare realm of Vermina. Every few minutes, there was a flash of lightning, and then reality shifted, always to something more horrible and horrifying. A dark castle one moment, a den of ravening beasts the next, a moonlit swamp, a coffin where he was buried alive. Fear got the better of my master, and he quickly passed to the next realm. I heard him laugh. I feel like I'm home now. MidnightVisuals described to me an endless library, shelves stretching on in every direction, stacks on top of stacks. Pages floated on a mystical wind that he could not feel. Every book had a black cover with no title. He could see no one, but felt the presence of ghosts moving through the stacks, rifling through the books, ever searching. It was Apocrypha, the home of Hermaeus Mora, where all forbidden knowledge can be found. I felt a shudder in my mind, but I could not tell if it was my master's or mine. MidnightVisuals never traveled to another realm that I know of. Through his visits to the first 4 realms, my master spoke to me constantly. Upon entering Apocrypha, he became quieter as he was lured into the world of research and study, the passions that had controlled his heart while on Nern. I would frantically try to call to him, but he closed his mind to me. Then he would whisper, "This cannot be. No one would ever guess the truth. I must learn more. I see the world, a last illusion's shimmer. It is crumbling all around us." I would cry back to him, begging him to tell me what was happening, what he was seeing, what he was learning. I even tried using conjuration to summon him as if he were a Daedra himself. But he refused to leave. MidnightVisuals was lost. I last received a whisper from him 6 months ago. Before then, it had been 5 years, and 3 years before that. His thoughts were no longer intelligible in any language. Perhaps he is still in Apocrypha, lost but happy, in a trap he refuses to escape. Perhaps he slipped between the stacks and passed into the madhouse of Sheogorath, losing his sanity forever. I would save him if I could. I would silence his whispers if I could. And that was The Doors of Oblivion, a effectively sequel to the book On Oblivion, which is a book that Maurian Zenas the Mage, that got lost in Apocrypha, wrote when he was in or on Nirn. Again, it was a little eldritch-hoary, not as gory and as viscerally horrifying as some of the books that we've read on here. Some of the books that the Elder Scrolls has in its library that, well, last stream I actually even had to mentally edit out a whole sentence because I thought it was a little much for the stream. It didn't change the story any. It just seemed, I don't know, shocking for the sake of shocking, perhaps. It fit, though. It was words and philosophy, and the interviewer was talking to a grizzled swordswoman, who was the chief bodyguard for the Emperor of Cyrodiil at the time. And she talked about her various experiences, and some were horrifying. This one, a little sad, perhaps. I think it's very much I'm in agreement with the apprentice that perhaps he's still in Apocrypha, lost but happy in a trap he refuses to escape. And, I can partly understand that. That's sort of what the Daedric realms can be. The Daedric princes especially sort of act in that way. They lure people in to their domains. And it doesn't have to, and I don't mean directly into their domains of oblivion, but into their domains of control. In Hermaeus Mora's case in Apocrypha, Apocrypha's prince's case, it's knowledge and secrets. I forgot his name, but there's another prince that does pleasure and indulgence and these other things, and he has people, he welcomes people into his realm for these lavish parties. And very much, if you know what happened to the old elves and the birthing of the fourth Chaos God within the Warhammer 40k lore, that is sort of how things can go with that particular Daedric prince. And some Daedric princes are, with moderation, knowledge and secrets can be very useful. They can be noble pursuits. Same thing with pleasure, right? But same thing with pleasure, I say, as to a stream, listening to me entertain them with stories and my voice, and me enjoying it too, right? Very much within my domain as a Succubard. But also the Daedric princes take those domains, those attributes, to their logical extremes, and then often, whether in the middle of life or after a mortal's life, claim their soul and trap them within that realm of oblivion. Stretch. That was fairly long story. 25-30 minutes. Although that feels like a perfect length for a book, is 20 to 30 minutes. Unfortunately, I don't have the lung capacity at the moment to properly sustain it, as I feel ever so slightly dizzy after about the 15-minute mark, I think. 10 to 15 minutes and I'm okay. 20 and I need proper breathing time afterwards. It's interesting because actually I'm not sure whether I'm lacking oxygen or hyperventilating. Because I just realized the symptoms, some dizziness and some tingling in the extremities are symptoms of hyperventilation. So I may be breathing too well while I'm reading. Things they don't tell you about a career talker. Or maybe not a career talker, a professional talker. By the way, does anybody have any requests for reading at the moment? And also, if you'd like to join us on our Discord, we do have that as well for stream alerts and also geeky chatting about things and various things besides. Also, alerts when I upload videos. All nice and categorized in their own channels, so you can follow or unfollow whatever channels you'd like. Although I suppose I need just a little bit of recovery time. Orange Lantern, I'm drawing while listening. Not too picky about the particulars. I just enjoy listening to your voice. Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm really glad you do. What sort of art are you drawing? I recognize you. I recognized you instantly from Mastodon and Fetty, but which for anybody else, that's my main social media. So if you'd like to follow me there, plug. But I don't remember what sort of art you do. Sci-fi characters for a TTRPG setting you're working on? Huh. There you are. Huh? Oh. Yeah, you follow me there, definitely. That's why I know. And I follow you too. Oh. I wonder. Yeah, I don't see any of your art here. Maybe yet, or maybe it's just buried in posts. Let me boost that. Let's see. Oh, give me just a sec. There we go. I think next maybe we'll do the importance of wear. This might be a fairly long story too, come to think of it. Maybe not 25 to 30 minutes long, but definitely 10-15 minutes. Oh. Yeah, 4 pages. Well, 3 and a bit pages. Yeah, sci-fi characters for a TTRPG setting. Character design. What sort of characters are they, by the way? The only other sci-fi art that I remember is somebody on my feed that does a lot of spaceship illustrations and designs. Oh, zoomies? Aurora zoomies? Hello, Aurora. What is it? Do you have the zoomies? Boop. I love the way that her nose just scrunches up a little bit. I wish I could do it here. Just scrunch. Pretty adventurer hero types at the moment. Lots of spacesuits, cat suits, tactical gear, and the works. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Oh, there's a bot. Let's see. Let us report the bot new. There goes the kitty zoomies again. What are we at here? Are we at about 127? So, let's see this story. Oh, Daige. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the follow. Thank you, thank you. Welcome to the Succubard's library. I hope you like it here. The importance of where. So this story is a book from the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, but it's also available in Oblivion as well as Skyrim. Daike, I'm not evil, you're evil, and I'm definitely not someone from Fetty Peeking, and no, definitely not. Definitely not, no. The fact that you call it Fetty is telling. People not on Fetty don't call it Fetty, they call it Mastodon. A lot of people on Fetty call it Mastodon, which is... Insert complaints here. Let's see, let us close out the doors of Oblivion. We'll close the doors lest Oblivion also stare into us, invade us, something like that. And also, I'm not evil either. If I was evil, I wouldn't be a succubard. I would just be a succubus sucking souls, I think. Sorry, I mean, I love the Mastovers. Mastoverse. Oh, gods. Oh, yeah. Orange Lantern. It's easier saying Mastodon, though, than explaining to people what Fediverse is all the time. Oh, yes, let's please call it Mastoverse. Oh, gods. Yeah. Oh. That's like combining the worst of everything. Honestly, I like Fedi. I like Fedisphere. Fediverse is. Oh, I blame a certain company and insert tech rant and social media rant here, etc., etc. It is easier saying Mastodon than explaining to people what the Fediverse is. Than THAN. Okay, yeah, explaining. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I tend to say Mastodon / Fedi because a lot of people know it as Mastodon, and I want to make sure those people know what we're talking about. But I also want to make it clear that Fedi is the umbrella and Mastodon is just one small part of it. Then there's, so like even with microblogging, right? There's Mastodon. Miski is the biggest one in Japan, right? Like it's actually it's surprisingly popular in Japan. It might even have more traction. Miski might have more traction in Japan than Mastodon does in English-speaking spheres and in European spheres. Daike, I'm definitely not running a Mastodon fork called Sharktodon centered around Foxfolk. Why would you assume that? Oh, definitely not. Don't worry. I'll just, I definitely don't have cat ears. Yeah, don't worry. Shh. I can keep a secret. Before I was on cutie.city, I used to be, first I was on mastodon.lol, rip, and then I was on tech.lgbt, decent server, nice and stable, a decent amount of character limit. I think Mastodon default is 500, tech.lgbt has 1024. In theme, total .lol mention. It's where are the eyes? The eyes. Oh, the hyper eyes. Rest in meep. And then I was on tech.lgbt, solid server, solid instance. And then I was on vulpine.club, which was an instance that had been up for 4 or 5 years by the time I got to it. And then a month or two later, it eventually went down because the admin wasn't going to be able to sustain it anymore. And then I've been on cutie.city since. So yeah, I was actually at some point as a non-fox demi-furry? Hemi-semi-furry? That's, for those that don't know, in music, the little flag on an eighth note is called a quaver. No, the note name for a quarter note or an eighth note is called a quaver. And then there's a semi-quaver, and then there is a semi-demi-quaver, and then a semi-demi-quaver, or something like that. I don't remember the order exactly, but I think that's either 8th, 16th, 32nd, 64th note, or it's quarter 8th, 16th, 32nd. The exact names are a bit of a pain to remember. Just a little bit. Just. I wish I had hand tracking so that I could just do the little pinchy thing where my fingers are literally together and just a tiny bit annoying as a, career violinist. Yeah. Sharktodon. So there's Misky, and then the fork Sharky, and then Sharktodon, which is not a Misky fork. Or not a Sharky fork. Okay. Actually, let me do another 3 minutes of ads real quick to turn off the pre-rolls, and then we will get to the importance of where right after that. Blink. There we go. Nod for no reason. No reason at all. Nope. But I do need a stretch. Remember to stretch, everyone, and to sip and to munch if you can. Ow. And I need to check something real quick. Pardon. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Also, I think on Herm, on YouTube, I'm trying to get up to at least 100 subs. But on Twitch, we're almost at 400 follows. Almost. It's exciting. No, a couple of friends. Actually, at least one friend hit 500 recently. Just really, actually, I can shout her out. Which is, Holly, or Hilarious. Does gaming stuff usually a little earlier in the day. Usually 5 to 6 hours earlier. It does, I think, some Monster Hunter now and some Elite Dangerous and a couple other things besides. It's a lot of fun. I can't watch her very often just because she starts streaming sometimes when I go to bed. Sometimes like today, a few hours after I wake up. on days like this, he doesn't stream, which is pain. Let us see. We are almost done with ads. Just a few more seconds. Okay, there we go. Welcome back, Twitch. So, did a quick shout out for Hilarious if you'd like to follow her. She crested 500 followers just fairly recently. It's a lot of fun. Does variety stuff, but does a lot of, I think, Monster Hunter and Elite Dangerous lately. And sometimes Dark Souls or Elden Ring. I don't know how frequently she does those anymore, but she's a lot of fun to watch. Alright, so this story is called The Importance of Where. The importance of where. The chieftain of Orthrobar gathered his wise men together and said, "Every morning a tenfold of my flock are found butchered. What is the cause?" Fangbith, the war leader, said, "A monster may be coming down from the mountains and devouring your flock." Gorik, the healer, said, "A strange new disease, perhaps, is to blame." Baron, the priest, said, "We must sacrifice to the goddess for her to save us." The wise men made sacrifices, and while they waited for the answers from the goddess, Fangbith went to Mentor Joltereg and said, "You taught me well how to forge the cudgel of Zolia and how to wield it in combat, but I must know now when it is wise to use my skill. Do I wait for the goddess to reply, or the medicine to work? Or do I hunt the monster which I know is in the mountains?" "When is not important," said Joltereg. "Where is all that is important." So Fangbith took his Zolik cudgel in hand and walked far through the dark forest until he came to the base of the great mountain. There he met two monsters. One bloodied with the flesh of the chieftain of Orthobar's flock fought him while its mate fled. Fangbith remembered what his master had taught him, that where was all that was important. He struck the monster on each of its 5 vital points: head, groin, throat, back, and chest. 5 blows to the 5 points, and the monster was slain. It was too heavy to carry with him, but still triumphant, Fangbith returned to Orthrobar. "I say I have slain the monster that ate your flock," he cried. "What proof have you that you have slain my monster?" asked the chieftain. "I say I have saved the flock with my medicine," said Gorik the healer. "I say the goddess has saved the flock by my sacrifices," said Baron the priest. 2 mornings went by, and the flocks were safe. But on the morning of the 3rd day, another tenfold of the chieftain's flock was found butchered. Gorik, the healer, went to his study to find a new medicine. Baron the priest prepared more sacrifices. Fangbith took his Zolik cudgel in hand and again walked far through the dark forest until he came to the base of the great mountain. There he met the other monster, bloodied with the flesh of the chieftain of Orthrobar's flock. They did battle, and again Fangbith remembered what his master had taught him, that where was all that was important. He struck the monster 5 times on the head, and it fled. Chasing it along the mountain, he struck it 5 times in the groin, and it fled. Running through the forest, Fangbith overtook the monster and struck it 5 times in the throat, and it fled. Entering into the fields of Orthrobar, Fangbith overtook the monster and struck it 5 times in the back, and it fled. At the foot of the stronghold, the chieftain and his wise men emerged to the sound of the monster's wailing. There they beheld the monster that had slain the chieftain's flock. Fangbith struck the monster 5 times in the chest, and it was slain. a great feast was held in Fangbeth's honor, and the flock of Otherbar was never again slain. Yoltereg embraced his student and said, "You have at last learned the importance of where you strike your blows." Publisher's note. This tale is another which has an obvious origin among the Ashlander tribes of Vardenfell and is one of their oldest tales. Marobar Sul, the author of this text, merely changed the names of the character to sound more dwarven and resold it as part of his collection. The great mountain in the tale is clearly Red Mountain, despite his description of being forested. The starfall and later eruptions destroyed the vegetation on Red Mountain, giving it the wasted appearance it has today. This tale does have some scholarly interest, as it suggests a primitive Ashlander culture, but it talks of living in strongholds, much like the ruined strongholds on Vardenfell today. There are even references to a stronghold of Othrabar somewhere between Vardenfell and Skyrim, but few strongholds outside of sparsely settled Vardenfell have survived to the present. Scholars do not agree on who built these strongholds or when, but I believe it is clear from this story and other evidence that the Ashlander tribes used these strongholds in the ancient past instead of making camps of wickweed huts as they do today. The play on words that forms the lesson of the fable, that it is as important to know where the monster should be slain at the stronghold as it is to know where the monster must be struck on its body to be slain, is typical of many Ashlander tales. Riddles, even ones as simple as this one, are loved by both the Ashlanders and the vanished Dwemer. Although the Dwemer are usually portrayed as presenting the riddles rather than being the ones who solve it in the Ashlander tales. And that was the importance of where. It's a cute little story. Hello, Babs. Do you need up on my lap? Okay. Give me just a second. I need my robe back on so that I have some sort of protection for my arms, because once he's on my lap, he's going to drape his paws across one of my arms, and then, if I pet him at all, he is going to knead and make biscuits, and my arms will suffer if they have no protection. Oh, he's purring already. Okay, off you go, Babs. Oh, there you go. And up and over. There you go. And there you go. Let's see. Can you hear him? The library kitty is perfect. Also, I can hear the purr. The purring engine is ready. It is going. It is going purr, 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 purr. He's just large enough that I can give him really good hugs. Little motor running, oh my god. Raven, I have 3 kittens that do the same. Kitties are so good. They are perfect. They are absolute little gremlins, but they are perfect. Or perfect. 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 Oh, and thank you for the sip for Dimasha Fighter. Let me take a little bit of the tea here now that I'm done reading. Oh no, now I'm stuck like this. Raven, their names are Grizzly, Panda, and Polar. Oh. And now he has a paw draped over mine. And then I tried to drape a hand over one of his other paw, and now he's pulled it out and draped a paw over my hand, which is draped over his paw, which is draped over my arm. Which seems only fair. I wish I could show him to you. Some big old, you know, the Maine Coons? Malbs definitely has some Maine Coon in him. He's not a full Maine Coon. They are big old kitties, right? But he's a fairly large kitty. Probably twice the mass of my other 2 kitties. But what's really telling is his big old scarf that he has, and he's just fully a black kitty, so it might be hard to tell sometimes. But when you look, he's just got this big old floofy scarf. He's like a medium long hair. And he likes hugs. Like he loves the gentle squish of hugs. Obviously, you know, nobody likes to be like crushed, but he likes just the gentle hug, gentle squish of a hug. That's usually how I get him to start purring, honestly. But today he was purring before he even got in my lap. Little fellow must be like, Mom is perfect. Well, he has his complaints sometimes. But he's got a cute voice. Actually doesn't speak too much, but he will tell me when the water tank is empty, though. So he'll go and start playing with the empty, because it's a water tank. It's like, you know, at least a full 4 liters. But once it's empty, you can just knock the tank and the base around. At which point I know that I have to go and fill the tank. And then I thank Balbs for making me know, not making me know, reminding me. Because sometimes it can be, I can forget. Let's see, so that's the importance of where. And there we go. What shall we read next? Mom, I need water. Bap, 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 bap. Oh no, he's rubbing his face on my sound interface. So I have two sound interfaces I have to run my sound through for certain reasons. And he's rubbing his face on the bigger one, which is to my left right now. But he'll also use the smaller one to the right of me as a pillow sometimes when he's laying on the desk. He doesn't like valves. I mean, it can be a pillow. It's not like it's going to overheat or break, but, well, multi-use tools and all of that, I guess. Let us see. I think next we'll read. Do we want to read a book that we've read before? Perhaps? I know we've done. There's a couple of fun books that we can, that I like to reread sometimes. Or maybe we'll do the Oblivion Crisis live for those who haven't watched the YouTube video of it yet. Let's see, the Oblivion Crisis. Is the Oblivion Crisis? There it is. Tesla for the win. All right. So this is the Oblivion Crisis. Spoilers for Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. So this book can be found in Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. It serves as a nice primer, not quite primer, I guess, fills in the context of Skyrim to a large degree. This, along with maybe The Great War, are two books that are really good to read for people going into Skyrim as their first test game. Test being the Elder Scrolls. Hello, Babs. You're looking at me like more pets, okay. Let me at least get the reading started, okay? And then I can at least spare a hand to pet you while I read, okay? The Oblivion Crisis. Written by Praxis Sarcorum. Pardon. At the turning of the Fourth Age, in the year 3rd Era 433, the Emperor Uriel Septim VII was assassinated, and the Amulet of Kings was destroyed. This set in motion a chain of events that would bring down an empire and change forever the relationship between man and the gods. The assassins first attacked the Empire in the White Gold Tower, or the Emperor in the White Gold Tower. While the Blades held them back, the Emperor made his way down to the dungeon to a secret escape route built into one of the prison cells. For reasons known only to himself, the Emperor pardoned the fortunate prisoner in that cell. Some say the prisoner reminded him of a childhood friend. Others say it was a moment of prophecy. Whatever the case, the prisoner came to play a fateful role in the history of the Empire and Tamriel, surely a sign that the gods themselves were at work. The pursuing assassins killed the Blade's bodyguards in a relentless series of sneak attacks. Eventually, they struck down the Emperor himself. Before he fell, Emperor Uriel Septim VII gave the Amulet of Kings to the prisoner, who somehow made it out of the Imperial sewers and into the light of day. The assassination is now known to have been the work of a group of Daedric cultists known as the Mythic Dawn. Those who still suspect the Dark Brotherhood should consider two facts. First, they would have only needed a single assassin, not a small army of them. Second, the Dark Brotherhood would never be so foolish as to effectively declare war on the Empire, and thus ensuring their complete destruction. Witness to the eventual fate of the Mythic Dawn. For context, my own footnote here, the Mythic Dawn was mostly wiped out. The Amulet of Kings next surfaced at the Waynon Priory near Coral. Joffre, secret Grandmaster of the Blades and head of the Priory, took possession of the amulet. The messenger was set off to Kvatch to find a lowly priest named Martin Septim. Unbeknownst even to himself, Martin was the bastard son of Uriel Septim VII, and the last heir to the Ruby Throne. He alone could use the Amulet of Kings to light the dragon fires that wards the barrier between Tamriel and Oblivion, and save the world from the Mythic Dawn plot. The prisoner arrived at Kvatch to find it overrun by Daedra that had poured in from a newly opened Oblivion Gate, the start of the empire-spanning devastation of the Oblivion Crisis. How the prisoner closed the gate is not recorded. Once closed, Martin and the surviving Kvatch guardsmen drove back the Daedra. Now known as the hero of Kvatch, the prisoner and Martin returned to Waynon Priory, only to find the priory sacked and the amulet taken. Joffre survived the attack, however, and the three of them made their way to Cloud Ruler Temple, bastion of the Blades. This secret fortress in the mountains outside Bruma is where Martin was held safe while the hero of Kvatch searched for the lost amulet. Knowing only that a mysterious group called the Mythic Dawn was behind the assassination and thieving of the amulet, the hero of Kvatch was sent to locate the cult. With the help of Baris, a blade in service of the Emperor, they somehow used the commentaries on the Mysterium Xarxes, esoteric works by the madman Mankar Cameron, to direct them to the Mythic Dawn's secret lair. Scholars familiar with the commentaries claim the location is not directly mentioned in them. How they did this remains a mystery. No official record exists of how the hero of Kvatch penetrated the Mythic Dawn's lair near Lake Arius. There is a bardic tale that claims the hero used trickery and disguise, but that is just speculation. What was discovered there is that Mankar Cameron was behind the Mythic Dawn, and that the group worshipped the Daedric prince, Mehrunes Dagon. Mankar Cameron believed himself to be a direct descendant of the Cameron usurper, the infamous pretender to the throne of Valenwood. Somehow, the hero escaped with the Mysterium Xarxes itself, the holy book of the Mythic Dawn cult. Mankar Cameron fled to Oblivion with the Amulet of Kings. With some effort and great risk to his sanity, Martin deciphered the Mysterium Xarxes and intended to use it to open a gateway to Mankar Cameron in order to recover the Amulet of Kings. Before Martin could do the ritual to open the gateway, Mehrunes Dagon opened an Oblivion Gate outside Bruma. The hero of Kvatch saved the city and Martin by entering the gate and closing it before a Daedric siege engine could destroy Bruma and the Cloud Ruler Temple. Many songs and stories have been told of this battle, and I will not retell them here. The hero of Kvatch was now known as the savior of Bruma. With the city and Cloud Ruler temple safe, Martin opened the portal to Mankar Cameron's, quote, paradise. The details of what transpired in this place have not been recorded. All that is known is that the savior of Bruma traveled to this paradise, killed Mankar Cameron, and returned with the Amulet of Kings. With the amulet in hand, Martin Septim presented himself to the Elder Council to be crowned Emperor of all Tamriel. Once crowned, he planned to relight the dragon fires. Sorry. Once crowned, he planned to relight the dragon fires and seal Tamriel from oblivion. In a last-ditch attempt to stop him, LemonStxDesign launched an assault on the Imperial City, opening several oblivion gates within the capital itself. Uncrowned, Martin joined the battle in the streets. LemonStxDesign himself left Oblivion and entered Tamriel, breaking the covenant. Only the unlit dragon fires allowed this to be possible. Now that the barrier was ripped asunder, it was too late to relight the fires. Martin Septim chose to make the ultimate sacrifice. He shattered the Amulet of Kings to become the avatar of the god Akatosh and do battle with LemonStxDesign. Records of this battle vary wildly. What we do know is that LemonStxDesign was defeated and sent back into oblivion. The avatar of Akatosh was turned to stone and can be seen to this day in the Temple of the One in the Imperial City. With the amulet gone, the dragon fires quenched, and the last Dragonblood Emperor dead, the barrier to oblivion is sealed forever. And that is the Oblivion Crisis, which details the events of the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, minus some of the details that only the main actors themselves in the events knew. This is a historian coming through afterwards and trying to piece together the events. And the thump you heard in the middle there is Balbs jumping off my lap. Evidently it was a little too warm, or maybe it was a little too much attention. Oh, and thank you for the follow, Alpha Koki. Alpha Koki? Alpha Koki. One of the two. Okay. Let's see. Roll the shoulders, stretch the neck. Make sure that I can keep going. Oh. Oh. Neck stretchies are super important. Actually, the other thing that I need to do is for 20 seconds stare somewhere other than the screen. So I'm going to stare off, ideally at least 8 to 10 meters away. So I'm staring off towards the other side of my room for 20 seconds here. And hopefully you'll join me in that. I think it was, so for long COVID, I have to do speech therapy and physical therapy. And the speech therapist basically told me, yeah, so there are some things that you can do including this affects your eyes. So 20, I think it was this is the US, so 20 seconds, 20 feet away, something like that, every 20 minutes. I have not been following that at all. But I figure whenever I remember, shall I just make a rest the eyes redeem? Yeah, we can probably do that, can't we? Let's make a rest the eyes redeem real quick, and there we go. And that's okay. So we're doing a green. No. I think it was. Do we do 150 around here for rest the eyes? Like 10 meters away for 20 seconds. And we can create that. And then we can edit it to, what hex code are we using here? Hex code. Oh, my life has been filled with hex codes recently. Why isn't that hex code not? Is that hex code not correct? There we go. And that hex code's not right either. Oh well. Oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, you can now make me look away. You can also make me do araras too, among other things. You can also put a hat on me. The glasses stay on. The glasses always stay on. Otherwise, I can't read. I mean, I can. I was reading earlier today, but it's a blurry mess. So that was the Oblivion Crisis. Again, on Oblivion, the Oblivion Crisis, and then the Doors of Oblivion are 3 good books on that are sort of themed on Oblivion and the Daedric Princes. Pardon. Let's see. That's another book that I wanted to read. So this is the Rise and Fall of the Blades. So we just heard mention of the Blades, and they are an organization that ostensibly guard the Dragonborns, which are mortals that have dragon blood. And traditionally, the Emperor of the Cyrodiilic Empire has that dragon blood, up until Martin Septim, I believe, and thus he becomes the last dragonborn emperor. And so the Blades were the organization that handled keeping him safe. And the organization still does continue to work for the Empire, both as a clandestine organization as well as just direct physical protection, well into effectively the events of the Great War, which is so up until about 20 years before the events of Skyrim is when the Great War ends, right? And if you play Skyrim, spoilers, spoilers. Well, not super spoilers, but just in general, you'll get to know more about this topic a little more intimately. You get to know it super intimately if you play Oblivion, but also to some degree as well in Skyrim. Yes, there are. Do you want to be between me and the keyboard? Okay. Just no stepping on random keys, okay? I taught you better than that. Raven, I think I can place the world of Tess alongside Middle Earth in terms of lore quality. Yeah, it's interesting because Middle Earth is a mythology and history and world created by one man, right? Plus, I mean, J.R.R. Tolkien's son also did some of um, the editing work effectively for the Silmarillion and Unfinished Tales, maybe. So it's something like that. But The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings were entirely J.R.R. Tolkien, right? In fact, The Hobbit was born of J.R.R. Tolkien telling stories to his son, and his son going, "Wait, but wasn't that? Wait, wasn't no that I remember that being like this?" And J.R.R. Tolkien was just like, "Damn it, I'm going to have to write this down, aren't I?" And thus, The Hobbit was born, whereas The Elder Scrolls is based on mythology written by one Bethesda game GameWorks, Bethesda GameWorks, I think, but is then written by very very many people, and it is a world built effectively on the backs of unreliable narrators, right? All of these books that we're reading are unreliable narrators. And, there's the Rise and Fall of the Blades. It's a historical book, historical, quote unquote. And there are going to be discrepancies that, are going to come up if you've played the games and experienced the game as one of the main characters during these events. The Oblivion Crisis, right? A lot of the details there aren't known to the book writer. But if you played the games, if you played Oblivion, you are going to, as one of the main actors in the history as it unfolds, you're going to be more privy to a lot of the details, the actual details. And so as a world, it's really interesting because it's this just absolute stew of various almost competing realities in a lot of cases. And in a lot of cases, multiple realities are real in the exact same point or over the exact same span of history. They're sometimes called dragon breaks, where history literally diverges into parallel universes and then reconverges, so that both or those multiple parallel histories are all literally true, right? And yes, it's an endlessly fascinating world in that sense. Let me open the window real quick. There we go. So we talked about the blades. And this book is called The Rise and Fall of the Blades. The rise and fall of the blades. There are many who still remember the blades. There are fewer that can pass down and tell their stories, their origins, and their downfall. My father could. In his proudest moments, he said to me, "You keep secrets like the blades." The blades were very good at keeping secrets. They hardly wrote down information. They normally passed information carefully between their spies in every province to their elite members that protected the emperors. Even amongst their members, they kept much secret. Most associate the blades with their ceremonial Akaviri armor and curved longswords. One can trace the blades back to the fiercest warriors of Akavir, the Dragon Guard. It was there, just as they would do in Tamriel, that they protected rulers and their kingdoms. But recent discoveries show it to be much more than that. Many classical texts tell us of adventures to Akavir known as the Dragonlands of the East. Many from Tamriel have attempted to conquer it, most famously Emperor Uriel V and his 10th Legion in 3rd Era 288, as documented in the Imperial Dispatch Disaster at Ionith. Dragons have long been legend in Akavir, and many believe that their brief appearance in Tamriel's history are those that escaped Akaviri, for it was there they were hunted and killed off by the Dragon God. The Dragon God would follow those that fled to Tamriel in the late First Era. Invading from the north, the Dragon God met not only dragons, but the men of Skyrim, who don't meet invasions with pitchers of mead. The Dragon God cut a path through Skyrim, and it was not until they were stopped by Reman Cyrodiil during the battle at Pale Pass that the invasion came to an end. It was Reman who reunited the human lands of Cyrodiil and defeated the Akaviri invaders. Reman is one of the first documented and widely accepted of the mythic Dragonborn, those anointed by Akatosh and Alessia themselves. Born with the soul of a dragon is what his followers would say. Reports differ wildly on the nature of the battle at Pale Pass. But the end result is the same. That the remaining Dragon God, upon hearing the voice of Reman Cyrodiil, knelt and swore their lives to him, their conqueror and savior. Fragments of from late First Era texts refer to the warriors dropping to their knees, saying, "We are not hunting," or "did not intend." Author, rough translation. Continuing, "We have been searching for you." They protected Reman with their lives, as well as his descendants, as the Reman dynasty ushered in Tamriel's Second Era. It was through these years that their reach extended, and their order grew to become the Blades. Their conquest of the dragons complete, they only sought to protect the Dragonborn, and through him, the Empire. They reached their height late during the Third Era, under the rule of the Septim Emperors. Despite their number, they kept their secrecy. The most viable and well-documented were the members who personally guarded the Emperor, still wearing the original Akaviri armor. But that was just the tip of the spear. for the Blades were a larger organization, stretching to every corner of Tamriel. These agents were of every race. They were merchants, thieves, craftsmen, mages, and warriors, all acting as spies, protecting the empire as needed and operating in secret. They often acted alone, but some fragments speak of them meeting in secret fortresses across the continent. The most famous being Cyrodiil's Cloud Ruler Temple, where they hung the swords of those slain protecting that dragonborn. Pardon. Other maps speak of Windscour Temple under the great expanse of Hammerfell's Alakir Desert, Skyhaven Temple in the mountains of Skyrim, and Storm Talon Temple east of Wayrest. They were known to have a grandmaster who often lived amongst the people, unknown to others. The nature of their communications, meeting places, and missions were known to only a few elite members. The only two to know all were the Grandmaster himself and the Chronicler, whose only job was to make sure the group's mission was never known, but never lost. With the death of Uriel Septim VII and his son Martin, which, as my own personal note, we heard in the previous book, The Oblivion Crisis, the Third Era came to a close, with the Blades fortifying themselves deep within Cyrodiil's Cloud Ruler Temple, as they waited for a Dragonborn to return when they would be called upon again. The Empire of the Fourth Era no longer saw the Blades openly protecting it, or the Emperors. That role is now filled by the Penitus Oculatus, a purely imperial organization. But the Blades continue their secret work to watch for the Dragonborn and guard against future enemies. The Blades were amongst the first to see the signs that the Thalmor of the Aldmeri Dominion would not remain isolated within their borders forever. They could do what the Penitus Oculatus, servant to imperial policy, could not, and thus earned the long-lasting hatred of the Thalmor. The warnings of the Blades were proved right, as is well known to all. The great war between the Empire and the Thalmor consumed the Empire and nearly destroyed it. Emperor Titus Mede II eventually brokered peace with the Thalmor, but at a price many of us still bear. The reach and destructive nature of the Thalmor is known to many. Author's note, in my family, firsthand. They are not fools. They knew early on that the Blades were an enemy, so they hunted them through the Great War. Some were killed defending their temples, others as they slept in their hideaways alone. Some fought, some ran, some hid, but the Thalmor found them all. There are those that say the Blades still exist all around us, in hiding from the Thalmor, waiting as they have done time and time again for a Dragonborn to return, for one to protect, for one to guide them. And that was the rise and fall of the Blades. Hopefully you liked that. Feels like a lot of the books we've read recently have had some interweaving elements. And that's nice to have instead of completely disparate stories that are in completely unconnected, I suppose. In my mind, they're still connected, but it takes a more continental or more worldwide knowledge and view of Nirn to, go, oh yeah, that's Night Falls on Sentinel. Well, Sentinel is in, is it in Akavir? It's in Hammerfell somewhere. No, is it in Hammerfell? High Rock, Hammerfell. High Rock is Bretons. Hammerfell is the Akavir and the... Oh gods, I forgot their name. Makes the world feel more alive? It really does. It really does. And, the things that were mentioned there, we were talking about Uriel Septim the Seventh and Martin Septim, his his heir, and them dying at the beginning and end of the Oblivion Crisis. The Blades and this book, very particularly, if you've played Skyrim, I'm sure that that last paragraph or two got a chuckle out of you. If you've played Oblivion, right, that then you'll have gotten some of that knowledge because you played through some of those events, but then it filled out from there to Skyrim. And then the book The Great War, right, fills out the Great War between Oblivion and Skyrim. And yeah, just like they put the games really in context. There's so much context there that that can be appreciated. And those temples, the Blades temples, right, are also context, right? That can add a lot of flavor and appreciation to what you experience in the games. So yeah, and then there's more Morrowind books, right? That we don't get too much into. We have read some of them, but is sort of secluded in their own area sometimes, because the events of Oblivion and Skyrim are a little cut off from them unless you play the Skyrim DLC Dragonborn, in which case they can be a little familiar. The Ashlanders today that we talked about, and Red Mountain, Solstheim is the island. It is a Morrowind island that is completely covered, absolutely caked in the ash of Red Mountain, right? And that you can play in Skyrim, but yeah, to know that context. And in Solstheim, you can still see Red Mountain erupting to this day. It's still spewing ash. That's why, it's not like our modern world or not modern world, in our world on Earth, a lot of times mountains will either have these like minor eruptions that sort of go on and off, or they'll have one huge eruption every however many hundreds or thousands of years, right? And Mount St. Helens is perhaps a really, really good example of that, where just absolutely blew a third of the mountain clean off, right? It used to be Mount St. Helens was called Balms? No, that's my chord. Was compared to Mount Fuji in the gorgeous shape of its slopes, right? The Alps? No. In these picturesque slopes, right? Close to home, that one? It is for me, too. Although my view tends to be of Mount Hood more than St. Helens. But the if you were in the way of the ash cloud and that eruption, if you drove your car in that, your filter just got wrecked. People had, instead of inches of snow, they had inches or perhaps feet of ash, right? But with after the eruption of Red Mountain, part of it is it's a magical eruption. It had to do with the heart of Lorcan. It had to do with the events of the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind and the Nerevarine and Balbs. That is, it didn't have to do with Balbs. Don't worry, he's the god of combat and fire and cuddles, not ash and mountain gods. Don't worry. But it's since that was 200 years before the events. Maybe 250 years, 230ish, 200 and some odd years before the events of Skyrim, and it is still spewing ash to the point where the people of Solstheim are, their living habits, their daily practices are adapted to life within kind of like areas where it snows heavily and you're, stuck in perhaps half a meter or a meter of snow or more in a lot of cases throughout a good chunk of the year. You adapt, right? Some houses have second-story doors. There's snowshoes and various skis, like that sort of thing. And in this case, it's a culture that is very much adapted to life within Ashfall. And in fact, so in Skyrim, you can summon Atronox. These are golems, right? Elemental golems. You can summon an ice golem, right? It looks like a big old glacier just walked straight out. A big old giant walked straight out of a glacier. There's a storm Atronox, which looks like a bunch of stones that have become energized and become a roughly humanoid shape with electricity. And then there's the fire Atronox, which looks like my fireplace, like I gave my fireplace a bikini and a crown. More so if you use certain mods. But then there are the ash Atronox, which the people of Solstheim, the mages of Solstheim, have literally made magical constructs out of an element within their environment. It's logically speaking, it's no more surprising than a frost or a storm or a fire Atronox, right? To see these environmental elements and just go, yeah, we can summon a golem out of that. To do whatever needs doing for us, and so to see that it's really interesting. Fire, yeah, the very much a this sort of situation. So yeah, right? Like it's very much just yeah. Oh, yeah, oh, I need to do an ad break real quick. The pre-rolls are turned back on. But yeah, like it's I guess before I do ads, I need to thank the both the people that are subbed here and also my monthly supporters all over on Coffee, who literally keep me fed, put food on my table, allow me to get shampoo, and and also food for the fuzz babies. And yeah, I guess also if you haven't already, remember to follow and 3-minute ad break, and then we'll be right back. We won't read anything or do anything important in the meantime. Don't worry. Car. I need to do the 3 minutes of ads every hour, or else the pre-rolls turn on. It just kills everything. But I also don't want to subject you to ads in lieu of the content. That just feels bad. It encourages people to sub, but that it feels hostile, sort of. So, yeah. Anyway, see you in 3 minutes. Take a quick break. Take a sip, take a munch, take a stretch. And see you back in 3. And for the people that are subbed, and also for the people that are on YouTube, I guess, and subbed. Hi. Actually have half a mind to maybe read one more story and then do a gaming segment as well. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see. I don't know, is there anybody on YouTube? I don't think there is. YouTube stream numbers are absolute arse. Absolute tush. But tush is good. I don't know why there are some expressions that are like, but that's not negative. That's a good thing. Why are we using it as a negative? Let's see. Let me take a sip. Love tush? Yeah, tush is good. Tush is good. Makes for good pillows. Makes for good pillows. I mean, thighs make good pillows too. Also makes good stress balls. Forgot that word existed. I'm glad I could remind you of it. It's a good word. It's a very good word. Orange kind of depends on the context, but yeah, I like to think of it as a positive too. Love it lyrically. Yeah. Feels good to say, sounds good to hear. Yeah. It's interesting because, so in terms of, like, it's absolute ass versus it's absolute arse. I know arse most likely comes from ass said in dialects where often people add an R there. With the name Washington, like Washington State, right? You'll hear a lot of people say Washington, or the word wash, actually, just the generic word wash will often be said a wash. I don't remember which dialect/accents do that, but yeah, it's a thing. Hi, Yas. Hope you're comfy in the box. And welcome back, everyone. Also, if you like the content, share it around if you can. Unfortunately, I can only do so much. I think it's a cute word. It really is. It really is. Tush. But honestly, I'm not sure what to play. I have hundreds of games that I have access to. We could play Armored Core, honestly. We could play Risk of Rain. We could play Octopath. Hades 2 sounds like a good idea, too. I've been thinking of doing Shin Megami Tensei. We could do Octopath Traveler 2. Although a lot of those games aren't very popular. Also, eventually, I will do a Skyrim run. I just need help getting well, I don't know if I need help or if I just need to put the time in to get a, not a mod list, my mod list going. Because the last time I was using it, this was about a week before Baldur's Gate 3 released, which is well beyond a year now, maybe even 2. Baldur's Gate 3, that's another thing that I need to mod list and then play. But I had a mod list of about 500 plus, and then I broke it. And I was fixing it, and then Baldur's Gate 3 came out, and it's really, really good, and the only game I've paid full price for in my whole life, basically. Aside from like fairly affordable indie games of like 10, 20 bucks. Awkward Smiles. I've heard a lot of good stuff about Shin Megami. Oh no, Tales as Old as Time mod lists. Yeah, but they make games so good. I can't play Skyrim without mods anymore. Like, there are so many, even just the UI, even just the usability aspects of it. Like, that there's stuff like, there's, makes it so that there's mods that make it so that menus don't pause your game. There's ones that make it so that you can have multiple, you know, sometimes with controllers where you press something in and then you get like a dial and then you point towards, usually it's like split into 8 ways, right? And then you point towards a part of the dial and then you release and you can do whatever that thing is. But it's in Skyrim and you can customize these wheels and you can have multiples of them. And it makes swapping between things on the fly really, really nice. And like, if you open the wheel and then left click it, it's in your left hand. If you open the wheel and you right click it, it's in your right hand. Just like, and then Sky UI, really condenses everything down so that things don't feel bloated. And the original interface is very console focused, controller focused, right? Whereas I play it on with a keyboard and mouse, and so there's just so much more that you can do with keyboard and mouse, right? And yeah, this is just so much. The Skyrim mod community is so cool. It really is. Like, the Skyrim hit 10 years, and then it, like, basically every year, especially like in 2021 with a pandemic, and like even now, still pandemic, but like from that starting year of the pandemic, the number of mods has grown, and like they kept on getting a record number of mods listed on Nexus Mods per year, more and more, like multiple years running. It's just so gods. And then there's the aesthetics that you can do, the actual gameplay, the way to flesh out, using mods to flesh out all of the spells. There are so many cool spells, and as a mage, I appreciate it. Fleshing out the College of Winterhold, making a post College of Winterhold quest that delves into the history of the college, the history of Winterhold itself, the city where the Great Collapse happened. And it's basically a tiny village now compared to the capital city that it used to be. And you can get mods that also take that and go, okay, well, where is this whole city? Well, mod it so that there's remnants of this grand city that used to be there, but it's all down at the bottom of the cliff, just strewn about the beach and the bottoms of these cliffs, and just there's so much gorgeous stuff you can put in there. And also, Serana Dialogue add-on is that one of the greatest love letters to Skyrim, I think, that I've seen. And I don't like the fact that Skyrim mods have been one of the main breeding grounds and uses of AI voicing, right? But Serana Dialogue add-on, that is a voice actress. They brought a voice actress in, and she has done a phenomenal job as this mod gets more and more and more updated every half a year to a year. Yeah, it's just... Oh, speaking of love letters, Sky Oblivion is also releasing this year, which is a love letter to Oblivion and to Skyrim in a lot of ways. And they have, gods, so many people working on this, and nobody's paid, right? These are all volunteers going, I buy into this dream of Oblivion as it should have been, right? Using all of the capabilities of the Skyrim engine and all of the capabilities of the modding abilities that we have now, and the voice acting skills of the community, and the musical composition skills of the community, and the editing, and the 3D modeling, and the quest writing. Like they're literally writing quests for Oblivion and fleshing out the cities as they should have been, and like it just honestly, I think Sky Oblivion is probably the biggest love letter to the Elder Scrolls. Oh, and at some point I need to finish my Skyrim run. Maybe we can play that, concurrently. Because Mouse, they put so much love into that game. I need to play it more than the first 2 hours. 16 times. Wait, 16 times? What, 16 times? I feel this is not even because it's bad. It's just so much. I'm like 12 hours in or so, but I still feel like I haven't even scratched it. Oh yeah, that's definitely not even scratched the surface. You could spend hundreds if you wanted to. There's so much world to explore. It's awesome, and I keep getting distracted. I get distracted. I feel like I have to start fresh. So go Skyfall. Yeah, so like, it's okay to get distracted. You don't have to start over. You just explore the world. The world will still be there. It does. You don't have to reset it just because there's no. I guess there's no distraction. Oh well, I suppose if you get distracted by other things, but also like come back and see your characters, right? And like for me, I tend to base my characters on like fantasy characters that I already sort of know, but the backstory of like a little child who sort of grew up in the College of Winterhold, right? Or this warrior that very much likes both magic and physical, but and is not a sneaky thief, but very much employs the magics and skills that thieves and spies and the like have fostered and created for her battle stuff, right? And it's so much you can do with it. Get IRL distracted. Yeah, I feel that so bad. Orange Lantern. I spent so much time in Cyberpunk 2077. I can't imagine that. Can't do that again anytime soon. Also, this damn city pulls me in again all the time. I know a lot of people that feel that way about Skyrim. Just, it's play a character, the save eventually corrupts. Maybe it's a tragedy, but also that character lived for however long that they were able to play it, and they got to explore the world in a certain way. And then sometimes they just make a brand new character, or sometimes they, make a whole new mod list that has maybe updated mods, or has different quest mods, or has mods more tailored to a different type of character. And then they get to explore the world anew with a different outlook and sometimes a different world, right? And it's these fantasy worlds, I hear it's just a game a lot, and I think this can be said about reading as well, but we get to live so many lives through these characters, whether we're reading, whether we're playing games. Playing games, we really, really... 1 second. Vroom vroom. We get to really, it's, with games especially, you know, especially the third or single or first person games like Skyrim, you inhabit that character. You experience the experiences of that character. And you are for, you know, when you play that character, you're indistinguishable from that character. You are that character. You make choices as that character, right? You know, you can't bring yourself to do certain things as that character. And some people roleplay characters that might disagree with their own, you know, choices, that play them as that character disconnected from themselves. Other times, there's a lot of, or most of us in that character, right? It's I think that's a gorgeous, gorgeous thing. To be able to live lives that we'd never be able to in our world in so many ways, to experience things that we never would be able to in our lives. And granted, you know, experiencing our lives is, you know, all sorts of interesting experiences too. But the depth and breadth and width, depth, breadth of the experiences that we get to have reading and playing games is just so, so wonderful. Awkward smiles. If you had to live in a game world, which one comes to mind first? Orange Lantern, Borderlands 3, then Cyberpunk 2077. Something apparently is wrong with me. Both would be very short visits. Yeah, honestly, I mean, the Elder Scrolls world would be pretty cool. I think the world of maybe Octopath Traveler would be pretty cool. I mean, I'm very I'm fond of games that have deep, intricate magic systems. And this is, you know, my choices are assuming that I have access to those magic systems, right? And I'm not just some random villager that just has to farm all their lives. I mean, perhaps actually using that magic to better people's lives in a lot of ways would be nice too. You know, it's giving wider access to things like the candlelight spell, perhaps. Got to have some magics. How it smells. It's a fun setting. I really enjoy fantasy settings. Yeah, a lot of fantasy settings are nice. A lot of, well, cyberpunk. A lot of some places we're living through cyberpunk. It's the thing. We get to live through a lot of cyberpunk, including the really bad aspects of cyberpunk, right? And we get to experience those fairly firsthand. But we don't get to experience explicitly magical. I mean, like, so it's interesting because what I do as a bardcubus, right? Bardcubus, Succubard, one of the two, is that, you know, I get to bring people joy via art, and in a way, what I do can almost feel like a spell, right? And I can make people cry sometimes. I can soothe them. I can do, you know, feel, help people feel so many things. And that in itself is a certain type of magic, right? I think in our world, one of the main forms of magic is art. Vroom, vroom. Orange Lantern. Oh, we can choose who we are in the world? Well, then Borderlands all the way. is the we ... to the we get to experience cyberpunk ourselves in our lifetimes thing? One planet and tree. This is cyberpunk dystopia without all the cool stuff. I want my neon lights and flying cars. Well, be the cool cyberpunk that you want to see in your life. Which, I mean, Orange Lantern, I mean, you sort of already are, right? Just by the name alone. But also, like, for me, like, a lot of the, I dress this way. Well, me, me, right? This me, dresses this way, right? And even in real life, there's, I try to, like, I don't follow the t-shirt and jeans thing or pants thing that a lot of people do, right? Maybe easy and comfortable, but I like more Edwardian, Victorian, Lolita style stuff, right? I adore long hair. I like, updos or braids or wiffle. Hello, hello. Rocktavia. Because you rock. Oh, thank you. Rocktavia, the Bard Cubist. But yeah, be the cool cyberpunk that you want to see in the world. Rock that you. Wait, is this really first time Chad Wiffle? I feel like you've been. I swear you've been here before. Haven't you raided me? Like, I've raided you and been on your stream a bunch, but is this really? It feels so. Anyway, hi. This is the new me. I thought I raided you. Yeah, me too. This is the new me. My old model. A friend of mine. Patanja. Basically, an artist in rigor among her other skills. Basically said, "Hey, bad news, Octavia. Your model is the artist AI generated. I'm sorry." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then she pointed me to a bunch of resources, and I got this model, and I can do cool stuff. I like it. And I can go. Hello, Victoria. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Love the look. Yeah, I wouldn't use an AI generated one either. Makes sense. Yeah. Like, being an artist myself, right? And having, like, artist friends around me, the whole concept of AI generated stuff is just antithetical to everything. I would like to not be a starving artist so that I can actually commission my friends. That would be really, really, really cool. And also so that I can commission custom stuff for this one too. But still, AI generated images aren't art. Exactly. That's why I call them AI generations or AI generated images. Art requires intent and a human. Whiffle, you definitely lurked? Oh, thank you. I'm glad. Love the toggles? Yeah. Oh. I asked for redeems. Take a look at the redeems. This is my default look, as a note. This is my default look. But there are others. Victoria, I just call it artificially generated slop. Yep. Unplanted AI can be helpful as a support tool, but it gets icky the moment you use it to make money with it or make everything with it and still call it art or anything art. So AI, language learning models, any sort of technology analysis tools, if you make it do the drudgery so that the humans can do art, great. If you can use that in, certain things to make people's quality of life go up, wonderful. If you use it to, quote unquote, make art and push humans out of the art, and then we just have to do the drudgery, that's they've lost the whole plot. They've lost the whole dang plot. Where are your pitchforks and torches? If anybody can make some pitchforks and torches and rig them for me, I would be more than happy to use pitchforks and torches. Wiffle, use ChatGPT as personal assistant to help me plan vacations, meals, help me pick what card to buy, planning my full hair removal journey. Sorry if that's TMI. No, not at all. Not at all. This is a trans channel, so full body hair. Yeah. Nice and smooth. I absolutely support that. Good gods, I support that. Feels nice. Trans love, heck yeah. Use it to organize, sort my thoughts about stories and RP adventures and plots. Yeah. As long as, I don't have objections to it. Well, so I have objections to the companies behind them right now, because they are in it to push humans out of the artistic stuff and into the drudgery, and they just suck, right? Especially as info resources and that sort of thing, it is just making everything worse, right? It is making facts harder to find. It is making good sources harder to find. It is training people to not look at proper sources, to trust AI slop, right? And so I just use no, quote unquote, AI at the moment. It's just not anything that I would ever want to trust with anything. But in concept. Whiffle, I'm a trans boy, but don't want the trans hair, or don't want the body hair. Yeah, absolutely. About Victoria Elms and artificial image slop can't be considered art until truly sapient computers are a thing. Yeah, and then it's like, okay, but what makes a human? And at that point, it's much more they're counted more as, sentient beings, and thus, right? So yeah, definitely. I look forward to the day when I can have a little AI assistant. I adore the concept of a Navi or Cortana. I would love a little, a soul sprite or something that just valves. Those are important cables. Please get off the desk. You're no longer allowed on the desk once you start playing with the cables. Navi like Battle Network. Navi like Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Yeah. Because yeah. Well, yeah, the companies and ecological impact are a huge problem. There is that, yeah, the ecological problems. Victoria also worsens interpersonal relations. There is that too. Companies are bad, but it's true for all of them. I agree with all the points you made. Yeah, that makes me miss the old internet. Yeah, the valves. Okay, give me 1 sec to remove the very, very big fluffy boil from my desk. Oh, are you going to be good? Are you going to settle down for a little bit? Or is that crouching kitty Crouching Kitty Imminent Disaster. It was in theaters at some point, don't worry. That's definitely not my memory being fudgy. Orange Lantern, or if you pay for a real human to do it, don't touch it either. Wait, but yeah, if you have no use for AI, don't bother with AI. Yeah. Not good smiles, forgot about her. I grew up on Wind Waker. Wind Waker is so good, though. Wind Waker is so good. Like, I know so many pieces from Wind Waker. The, the title theme, the... And, the legendary hero, the opening scroll. And the Great Sea, the... Grandma's theme. Yeah. So, my story is, I used to be a soprano singer, and then puberty happened, and my voice went from soprano, like a soprano 1, to, like baritone, bass, basso profundo, that range. Traumatized and, like, didn't use my voice, to sing again for 10 years, or longer. Also, my whistling is now my voice. So I've had a lot of hours with whistling. As I wanted to choreograph English country dance to the Wind Waker title theme. Yeah, it's a Irish slip jig. It's in 9/8. It's 1, 2. Irish jigs are 6/8. It's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1 enda, 2 enda, 1 enda, 2 enda. And let's see, what's a good jig? Whereas with the Wind Waker title theme, it's 3. It's 1 enda, 2 enda, 3 enda. So. Right? That may help with choreographing dances. I know with Irish pieces, they've probably already got stuff that for slip jigs. So there's a foundation to work off of. Orange Lantern, damn, that's awesome. I couldn't hold the tune whistling if my life depended on it. So part of it is that my ear is tuned for violin. Violin is much like the same as singing and whistling, where there's no distinct notes, there's no distinct fingerings. You can just, whatever pitches, whatever, you have all that scale. But that means that you can always be out of tune. So you have to develop your ear to, when you play a note on the violin, go, okay, is press down finger, draw bow. Does this sound in tune for this note? And it's just, that's your whole life as a violinist. And so I can use that to, whistling is the same process. Am I in tune? Right? Every second, every new note, Oh no, the voice drop? Yeah, that's... And, I've trained my voice back up to here. Which, again, I thank my musical training a lot for, because it prepped me for A, sucking. B, sucking really badly. and then practice. And being okay with sucking and practicing and just doing that. Being out of tune is a constant fear of me as a trombonist. Oh yeah, trombones also have the full slide. But it also means that your ears are going to be more more quickly trained to focus on intonation, right? Because it's something that you have to grapple with, right? Each of your positions, your effectively fingerings, you know, you have to go, okay, is this in tune? Well, I tried to teach him to whistle and just gets frustrated. Wait, fun fact, my fiance can't whistle. I thought you said your fiance can whistle. Yeah, it's hard to explain physically, right? That's yeah, there's a certain tongue position, and then there's a certain lip and jaw position as well, right? So yeah, it's oh, Munch. I'm sorry, Wiffle. I didn't do the redeem. I'm sorry. Let me munch on some gummies. Sorry for the crinklies. Yeah. I can't have these like out because cats. He has decided he doesn't want to whistle. I mean, that's fair. I think for me, it's without whistling. I can't get my violin out very quickly. I can't take it with me everywhere. And so it's become my voice. Some people sing their things, right? Dun, 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 dun. Never gonna give you up, right? Like, you know. But for me, it's just way more comfortable to go. Right? Like, it's just so much easier, and I have so much more control over it. And you know, I have the extra bandwidth to put in, you know, random notes that I want there, right? My God, I was not expecting to get rickrolled today. Who was it? Earlier, somebody was what's that? Oh, look. When they came in, said roses are red, chocolate is brown. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. So I got rickrolled today. So I like your Wind Waker one the most. Oh, thank you. It's honestly like the Wind Waker music is like, I mean, I can play 100 and some odd pieces, but like the Wind Waker music is genuinely some of my favorite music. Not just in the Zelda series, but overall. The intro theme, the intro slip jig, right? I mean, aside from having played Wind Waker after, like directly after it released, it's, I mean, as a violinist, it's really it's a sort of Irish music, right? So it's natural, and you know, I mean, like Makar plays a violin. He has to play it like a cello because of his size, but you know, can you do the Windfall Island theme? Let's see. That's great. C. Let me look up the sheet music for it real quick. Let's see. No, that's not right. I missed something. There we go. Sorry. Heard happy nom noises and had to get a snack too. Oh, so fun. Yeah, it's such a fun duet to play. And like it works as bum da dun ba dun ba dun. Right? That's the melody. And then there's the secondary part that goes bum 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 bum. Right? And there's the bum 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 bum. Yeah. It only really works as a duet. It's hard to play solo, but I'll try to hold off on requests if you want. No. It's all right. I needed the break from. Oh, Bony Shark. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. It was ostensibly a reading stream, but hey, I needed a break. And I'm considering also doing a little gaming today, but we'll see. Like I said, it's no worries about the requests. It's been what kind of game? I've honestly not decided yet. I've plenty of options, plenty of games that I want to play, but do you want to play Hades 2 maybe? Lies of P? I don't have Lies of P. I don't even have Elden Ring. I wish I had Elden Ring. But Moonstone Island? I don't have Moonstone Island. How about Another Crab's Adventure? Signalis? Nope, neither of those. Like the ones I had in mind. Oh, I could do Ace Combat 7. I mean, I couldn't do it right now because I don't have the. I cleared out the 60 gigs that it needs from the hard drive. But yeah, I was thinking. What did I have in mind? There's Octopath. There's Risk of Rain 2. There was Shin Megami Tensei 5. Shin Megami Tensei 5 is a lot of fun. I was actually just finishing up a run, and I was thinking, so there's a sort of a front and back run that you can do, and the secondary one is best done after that first run. And so I was thinking potentially doing that for streams. Moon Island can fulfill a sapphic hearts, acknowledges tragic Yuri. Aww. Kingdom Hearts? I don't have Kingdom Hearts. I've played Kingdom Hearts now and again, but I do not have it, unfortunately. Armored Core? I have Armored Core. I don't know if my system can handle armored rendering me and Armored Core at the same time. It might be able to. I know it can probably handle Shin Megami Tensei. Do we want to? Are people okay with Hades 2? I think Hades 2. Helldivers 2, joking. I don't have that either. Victoria, but it's Tragic Yuri. That includes classical music. Does it have good cello parts? I require good cello parts. Don't tell anybody else this. The other violinists would. Well, no, the other violinists would probably agree with me that cellos are wonderful and that we should give cellists and their cellos a hug and a kiss. Also, so this is. I don't know why this is, but it's held true for every cellist I've met, whether in orchestra or like working together. They're all attractive as hell. And I don't know why. Like, I have a love for the cello. Could be bass envy, who knows. You can hug a cello, you can't hug a violin very well. But that is its own thing. But separate from that, for some reason, cellists are just all attractive. And I don't know why. It's just like this law of the universe or something. Will I have no music talent in any way? I can't even keep a rhythm. It's all training. Don't worry. I was shite at it when I was 3, 4, 5. You know, practice, training, having fun. And even still, like my sense of rhythm, as well trained as it is going to be, it lags behind just a little, lags behind percussionists a little. Percussionists, because so much of their profession, their art is based on rhythm, and like a lot pure rhythm. They are. They can tell me when I am ever so slightly rushing. But it's also let's see, it's also got stuff from Swan Lake. Oh no. Do you know Raindrop Prelude, Opus 28, number 15 by Chopin? I do not. Honestly, my classical knowledge, classical music knowledge is a little abysmal for having been a classically trained violinist. Wiffle 5-year-olds are kind of shit at everything, to be fair. Yeah, and then there's like the 6 and 7-year-old violin prodigies, and I'm just like, that's autism right there. Yeah, I think we'll do Hades too here. Let me swap over to this. There we go. I'm a little big. I'm a little big. Can I become a little smaller? There we go. I'm a little smaller now. Yeah. Maybe we'll scooch me just a little further away from the wall. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm not itty bitty, but I'm small. Her power grows. I cast magical frame. Ah! There we go. Sometimes I How tall are you? Like, actually, how tall? I think I am currently like 5'8"-ish. I'm not as itty bitty as you, Wiffle, but also like not super tall. Before HRT, I was just tall enough to not smack my forehead on my grandma's doorways, but slightly above where it's like 45-degree slope, right near the top of the head. Well, maybe not even 45, like 30. Like the worst spot to hit a doorway because your forehead is nice and strong. Whereas like above the forehead into the hairline, like well into the hairline is just. I think now I can I can probably dodge those doorways without having to dodge them. Where is Hades 2? There it is. Okay, let us change this from... Is anybody watching on YouTube? No. Okay, I'm probably going to turn off the YouTube stream. And we'll just have it on Twitch for now. Since YouTube gets confused when things mix. And nobody's there at the moment as far as I know, so... And if you are up onto the Twitch, better audio quality anyway.